Welcome back to HPL. I'm Tannen Grace. He's Nathan. That's Admirable Zamora. And we're getting into Game 3 here between Greensheep and RDU. They are tied up at 1 apiece here. There's been some good good mix-ups by both players here in the games. I think Greensheep had one of the best ones in changing to a Druid strategy for Game 1, but then he went back to his roots and played aggressively in Game 2.
Yeah, I like that he is using aggression, but still kind of predictable with it. He just always tends to favor it, and RDU came so prepared in Game 2. 2 unstable ghouls, whirlwinds in his deck. He had everything to deal with that early onslaught.
Yeah, we've seen this a lot from the Warrior decks, the Grim Patron Warrior decks. They have a couple flex slots that they've been using, and you see things like Shield Block, Shield Slam sometimes, unstable ghouls, Armor Smiths. All of these are great in these matchups where they're going to be under a lot of pressure early, but the thing is, if you can't kill them by turn 5 or 6, you have no way to disrupt them and what they're going to be doing on turn 5 and 6. And when they start doing what he did with Grim Patron, you see the game snowballs out of control very quickly, and you just die very quickly. So it's a great matchup against these aggressive decks.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to have any sort of recovery state when you've been so invested into the early game and it being very consistent that you don't have room for all those tools. I mean, Iron Beak Owl is about all you're going to be able to fit in because you're looking to push damage at every step of the way. Are these going to continue that trend in Game 3, or is RDU going to get the better of them in this one as well? We're going to find out. Game 3, Greensheep and RDU is getting underway.
And Greensheep going into the Warlock deck with that, the mid-range, more demon-centric one, and RDU is going to re-queue up this Grim Patron deck.
I can't blame him either. I mean, in this kind of situation, if Greensheep's going to continue to be aggressive, continue to play defensive tools until he adjusts properly to it. I love this strategy from Greensheep. It's a little bit more resilient than his kind of all-in style that he's been going with. Something like Imp Gang Boss does fantastic versus a card like Unstable Ghoul.
Yeah, I mean, in the last game, you saw Greensheep get almost every card in his hand into play by turn 5, then draw extra cards off of Divine Favorite. It still wasn't enough to get the job done against RDU.
Yeah, I mean, tough to be in that kind of position. And Knife Juggler, this may be just checked straight away by this Unstable Ghoul. This is not a minion you want to leave around. Slam may change that, though.
Yeah, just a clean 1-for-1 here. He doesn't need to get the card off of this. He's just going to help stifle Greensheep's development here early in the game, cycle through his deck with his other cards. He already has a Gnomish Inventor, so he can draw an extra card here, and he's got a bunch of pieces of his combo already.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of looking like it's going to be a dangerous spot for RDU too. He's got plenty of tools to start getting on the board, but the problem with this is he's not going to be able to very easily follow up on all this. Greensheep's got 2 copies of Implosion, and he's also got Defender of Argus in his hand. He's going to be able to make use of the tokens to push through this Unstable Ghoul and make sure his Imp Gang Boss is doing a ton of work. And the fact that he didn't see Deathspite, I think he is absolutely relieved to be in this position.
Yeah, he only gets 2 Imps here. It's not the end of the world. He's going to get to make a couple more, but you didn't see Deathspite, and we see that RDU doesn't really have a ton of clean answers besides this Unstable Ghoul behind this to take care of what Greensheep's going to be doing over the next couple turns. He's going to be able to get some of these Imps out of the way of the Unstable Ghoul with this Defender of Argus. And as you said earlier, I love this queue up from Greensheep here. If you think RDU is going to be doing something along this line, we've seen him be defensive with his aggressive decks, queuing up against you. And I love the queue up by RDU as well. This is what I would be playing against Greensheep if I were to play against him in this league.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really peculiar board state too. I mean, he doesn't want to just run Unstable Ghoul into this and then not have it really accomplish anything other than checking the Implosion 1-for-1. He wants a lot more value out of it, and this is really Greensheep's window of opportunity to start pushing for a ton of that damage. He's got the second Imp Gang Boss in his hand. The tokens will start adding up eventually here, and he's going to add another Imp Gang Boss to this. Everything rolling in Greensheep's favor.
Yeah, just look a great, resilient board against RDU. He finally picks up a Deathspite. It's a little late, but he's still at a pretty high life total. He might be able to get himself, a couple turns down this game and start setting up Grim Patron and Frothing Berserker. He's one Warsong Commander away from doing a ton of stuff in this game.
Yeah, I mean, Deathspite's so important here, too, when he's got the Grim Patron and the Inner Rage to go with it. He's going to be able to start cleaning up his board, but he's taking a lot of damage in the process of doing this, and this is really Greensheep's opportunity to take a massive control in this game with Defender of Argus. I mean, this is going to force him to attack one of these Imps instead of attacking efficiently onto this Direwolf Alpha. It's going to create, it's not going to create more Imps because his board's already full, but just look at how much damage is pouring in. And then with Abusive Sergeant, Power Overwhelming, and Doomguard, if he doesn't kill everything that Greensheep has this turn, this is likely to be over.
Yeah, Greensheep presenting a ton of different ways to do lethal here on the board, plus the Doomguard, Abusive Sergeant, Power Overwhelming in his hand. RDU needs to draw something right now.
Yeah, Unstable Ghoul, I think, is going to help stabilize his board position a little bit, but still a very scary proposition to be taking 20% of your life total just to try to kill minions at this point.
Yeah, and this Doomguard Power Overwhelming is going to be too much for RDU to take, and Greensheep's going to move into this win here this turn. I mean, this coming up turn.
Yeah, I think he has to execute this turn. I would say just needs to do everything he can to keep the board under control.
Yeah,
we might even see inner rage here just to continue to alleviate some of that pressure from him.
Yeah, he needs his unstable goal to actually have a big impact this turn. He needs it to be there for more than a turn.
Yeah, love the inner rage to spread this out and make sure that no minion's actually going to be getting through, but with Power Overwhelming, it's just too much. Power Overwhelming, Abusive Sergeant, and Doomguard, he has more than enough to push through this damage.
Yeah, Greensheep's going to take a 2-1 lead here against RDU. Great queue up from Greensheep here. You know, we might see some little flare out of him here, see some extra cards. Doesn't even need to do all this. He has a ton of damage, but you know what? Might as well get them all in there.
Still had all these.
Yeah.
It's just going to get him. Yeah, once again, Greensheep love the queue up of an aggressive deck that's going to focus more on resilient threats. RDU obviously has been trying to clear your board with using one card to be very effective against everything you're doing. When you couple in stuff like Imp Gang Boss, maybe even Nerubian Eggs at times, the fact that Implosion is getting you some of that extra value in these trades that you're having to make, everything went his way. And then Power Overwhelming, that's such a crucial card in that matchup because sitting behind something like Unstable Ghoul, if he Power Overwhelmings one of his weaker minions to get that endgame push, it isn't swept out in that Unstable Ghoul death rattle. So love that he recognized that RDU was likely going to be sticking with a strategy like that and then punishing him for it.
Yeah, you know, I love the queue ups by both players so far in this match. RDU, as I said, this is what I would be doing against Greensheep, but we talked about this. You know, coming into this match, you need to be flexible. If Greensheep starts to adjust to you, you need to adjust as well, and I look for him to do that in this game here.
Yeah, he's been making these adjustments. If you want to see how he's played in the past, you can do that. You can head over to pvplive.net and see every game that Greensheep has played in his competitive history career. All the stats and the breakdowns, everything you need to know about those matches, and how RDU has typically tackled those sorts of things in the past. When we come back, guys, Greensheep is on match point. This is one of the first times he's been up 2-1 in a series instead of coming from the behind scenario. But RDU, he needs 2 straight if he's going to win. Don't go anywhere, guys. You're watching Hearthstone on PvP Live.